It all started when HOA Karen, driven by her usual entitlement and audacity, decided to call the cops on my wife. Her claim was preposterous. My wife had refused to open the barn, and Karen insisted this was some violation of HOA rules. She expected compliance, fear, and chaos. What she did not anticipate was that my wife had recently been appointed as the new police chief, a position granting her not just authority, but complete operational control over local law enforcement. Karen had no idea the very person she was attempting to intimidate now held ultimate power over the department she thought would respond immediately to her call. From the moment the call was made, my wife was fully aware of the scenario unfolding. She calmly prepared a controlled response, documenting Karen's intrusion, recording the call, and logging the audacious claim. Cameras in the barn captured Karen's approach, her mannerisms, and her repeated assertions of authority. Every step of her audacious attempt at control was preserved for the record. Karen believed she could manipulate law enforcement and intimidate property owners, but she had unknowingly triggered a scenario that would turn her audacity into public humiliation. When Karen arrived in person, expecting immediate compliance or fear, she was met with calm authority and unwavering control. My wife, now the police chief, greeted her not with anger but with precise, professional documentation of property ownership, prior harassment incidents, and the fact that the violation Karen cited was entirely fabricated. Karen's words faltered as she realized she was no longer dealing with a resident, but the head of the very institution she had tried to weaponize against us. Instead of confrontation, my wife used her strategic authority to neutralize the threat. She calmly informed Karen that any further harassment or false reporting would constitute a criminal offense and could result in immediate legal action. Karen, for the first time, experienced the consequences of her audacity. The officer she expected to enforce her claims now stood neutral, following protocol, and fully aware that Karen's attempt to manipulate the law had failed. Every move she made was scrutinized, recorded, and documented. In the following hours, additional measures were implemented. Legal notices were sent to Karen and the HOA, outlining her repeated harassment and warning of consequences for any further attempts. Security around the barn and property was enhanced, ensuring no further unauthorized access could occur. My wife, with complete authority as police chief, ensured that Karen could no longer manipulate or intimidate anyone on the property. Her audacity had backfired spectacularly, leaving her exposed, powerless, and publicly humiliated. News of the incident spread through the community. Neighbors and HOA members, long familiar with Karen's manipulations, were shocked to see her overreach met with decisive authority. Her credibility suffered a permanent blow. The lesson was clear. Audacity unchecked meets consequences when confronted with preparation, authority, and strategic foresight. Karen had assumed compliance, fear, or chaos would follow her actions. Instead, she discovered that entitlement, when tested against law, strategy, and authority, leads only to humiliation and accountability. By the end of the week, the barn and surrounding property were fully secure. Karen's influence and ability to intimidate were permanently neutralized. The incident became a cautionary tale within the community. Attempts to manipulate law enforcement, threaten property owners, or assert false authority will always fail when the target is prepared, empowered, and strategically positioned. My wife, calm, professional, and fully in control, had transformed a potential harassment scenario into a decisive demonstration of power, strategy, and lawful authority. Karen's audacity, which she had relied upon for years, had finally met its match. The property remained serene, secure, and under complete control, while Karen's repeated attempts at manipulation left her exposed and publicly humiliated, ensuring that no future overreach could occur without immediate consequences.